Okay, you're all set.
All right, call this meeting to order. I've taken a roll call. Everyone will be voting. Is there anyone wishing to approve or alter the minutes from last month's meeting?
This is Doug. Move to approve the meeting or the minutes from the January meeting.
This is Pete. I second that motion.
Is a motion on the table? All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Pete, aye.
Rick, aye. So moved. Communications,
I don't have anything for you tonight.
public hearings, there are none. Old business, item IWWCC number 21-13, 217 to 229 North Warwickes Hill Road.
Yep, this is for the construction of a new single-family home and associated septic system and well located in the Upland Review area. Property and application of Antilion Pontes and Itia Rodriguez Pontes, Assessor's Map 89, Block 1, Lot 14, Zone R40. So I'll bring up the site plan, and there's no one from the applicant at the meeting signed on currently. So if anyone has any questions of me, we can start with that, or I can go through the memo real quick if you want me to do that before any questions or comments.
Yes, please.
Okay. So it's for a single family home. I went with the zoning officer on the 28th and discovered that they had already started cutting some trees, and they had installed a construction entrance of crushed stone. We could not determine if there was filter fabric installed underneath it. So point 2 in my memo talks about they need to stop the work until they get their wetlands and zoning approvals. I do think it was within the area of where the home and the driveway is going to go. I don't think that the wetlands have been impacted at all at this point. Mother Nature kind of put a freeze on the project in the meantime anyway. Point 3 talks about the construction entrance, and they need to verify if filter fabric was installed. Number 4 is the site plan does not show the upland review area. They should add that to the plan. Number 5, there are no observed flags out there. I suggest that the commission requires them to reflag the wetlands before any further works takes place. There's no, number 6, there's no material stockpile shown on the site plan. It should be added, and appropriate E&S controls should be depicted and installed around it. Number 7, the approximate tree line may be in fact the proposed limits of clearing. If so, they should clarify that on the plan, and any disturbance past that should be run by myself and the zoning officer. Number 8, the site plan does not call out proposed erosion and sedimentation controls. They should clarify that. There's a detail on the second page that shows a silt fence. And discussing with the zoning officer, we think hay bales may be a better option based on the amount of trees in the ground. I don't see how they'll be able to dig and bury a silt fence easily. So I would just amend that to say maybe they should just do staked hay bales as opposed to a silt fence. I posted the comments from the zoning officer. I posted comments from the city engineer. It's not an area of concern for deep or high sensitivity for archaeological resources. I have a list of bullet points that you may wish to add to your decision. I'd ask to waive the reading of all of these. I think that's it. I just remind you, you need to determine if a public hearing is necessary or not before you make any sort of decision.
Dan, I noticed in the zoning enforcement officer's notes that the right of way or easement had not been noted on the site plan. Is that correct?
For the gas line, the regional gas line?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
So that's missing from the bullet points here, but I took a drive by there today, and I had a hard time sort of correlating where that easement is relative to the building site.
It kind of runs diagonally beyond it towards the back of the property.
If you pull up the site plan, can you just wave the cursor where it's at?
So it should be kind of up this way.
Okay.
Some of the notes, they're pole numbers on the site plan.
Yep.
They've added new poles since then, or when the subdivision was originally approved, they have 645 and 646, but there's actually 645 and a half and 646 and a half. So there's some minor revisions that Rich had mentioned in his memo, and I put in the bullet points of the approval that right here, the comments of the city engineer and zoning officer be addressed prior to the submittal of revised plans.
Does the easement go through the wetlands?
I think partially, yes.
That's not uncommon on my property. I've got an easement that runs right through the middle of the wetlands.
Over this side has a drainage easement for the city of Norwich as well that runs through the wetlands.
Should some of these items be taken care of before we give approval?
I don't think so. I think your approval is based on these items are part of that they have to be addressed. We wouldn't issue a zoning permit if they weren't all satisfied. And they wouldn't get the wetlands approval until all of these conditions are met. The trees that they cut down now are generally in this area in the middle here. They're not standing out there on them. They're not down close to the wetlands.
And if I remember your memo correctly, you indicated that the wetlands need to be properly flagged before any more activities take place on site. Is that correct?
That would be my recommendation, yes. This little pocket in the front and then down in the back, especially the closer portions to where they'll be disturbing.
Is it the landowners or a contractor that's been doing the work?
I don't know. There's a piece of equipment out there and some newly felled trees and limbs, none of which I would think are worth saving. There's not any particularly impressive trees in the area that they want to construct the house.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of vines, some overgrowth and invasive things everywhere.
Dan, this is Pete.
Yep.
Why wasn't that flagged out when they surveyed the lot? Shouldn't that have been delineated at that time?
This site plan they're using from 2011. And
Okay,
they're just
right.
taking the wetland reference from that original subdivision approval back in November of what's on here? July of 2011 down here.
Okay, so, yep, so that was some time ago. And the only excavation that occurred was the apron, or up near the road is the only place that somebody broke ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dan, this is Brandon. So in summary here, basically, they have a cease and desist as of right now. Our job is, as a commission, is to figure out whether it's a public hearing, whether it's significant, or whether you can handle it through the Wetlands Department with all the amendments that have been listed in your communication. Is that correct?
Right. I didn't issue a cease and desist. It was just a note in this memo because I don't think they've done anything yet.
Okay.
That would require that. But it was more of a just stop what you're doing because we have
Sure.
a meeting next week. And I don't know when they cut these trees down, but just by the look of them, it was some point since they submitted the application.
Okay. They seemed receptive to you asking them to stop until it was discussed here.
I have not heard from them. I emailed them the memo when I emailed it out to everybody.
Okay.
And I figured they would sign in tonight, but I'll be in touch with them after tonight, one way or the other.
Okay. Personally, I don't see a reason for a public hearing. I think that the proper course of action should be your communication with them and making sure they understand all these things in your directive here, in your communication with them.
And I would tend to lean in that direction as well.
Is there a motion on the table?
This is Doug. Motion to find that this application is not a significant event and does not require a public hearing.
Seconded by Brandon.
All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Pete,
Brandon, aye.
Yep, Pete, aye.
Rick, aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, so moved. Is there a motion to approve with the bullet points that staff has written out here?
Yeah, so motion to approve IWWCC 21-13 contingent upon all of the points put forth in the memo from staff that has already been discussed, circulated and discussed.
And that we will require wetlands to be reflagged before any further work takes place.
Correct.
Is there a second?
Brandon, second.
All in favor?
I'd like to make an amendment though, please.
Certainly.
Oh, I'm sorry, Robert's rules. We have to vote on this and then amend. I apologize.
Yes. All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Brandon,
Pete,
aye.
We get both of us, Pete, aye.
Rick, aye. So any opposed? Hearing none, so moved. Brandon, you wish to make an amendment?
Yeah, as Dan had indicated, in reference to number 8, I think it is, possible sediment controls that, where it's listed, silt fence, to work with Dan in his office, and if it's more adequate to put in hay bales, then I just wanted to make sure that amendment was voiced. Let's see.
In item 8, as it's written, it reads as follows. The site plan does not call out the proposed erosion and sedimentation controls. There is a detail on the second page that shows silt fence. Please add the silt fence to the map legend on the site plan and highlight the area of installation. I would recommend staked hay bales be added to the areas that are close to the regulated area in addition to the silt fence.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I removed my motion from the floor. Thank you.
If I may, that was, and I had a further discussion this morning, and what along the lines of what Brandon was saying, if we determine that staked hay bales make more sense through the topography and the the amount of tree roots out there. Are
So,
you okay with that?
yeah, so an amendment to the effect that you just add that additional latitude for staff would make a lot
Okay.
of,
Yeah, that's instead of referencing number 8, I should just make an amendment to the original motion that the staff has that latitude to make the best educated decision for sediment control.
second,
All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Brandon, I.
Pete, aye.
Rick, aye. Oh, unanimous, so moved. New business.
So we did receive an application yesterday in time previous to the 24-hour limit, and it is for IWWCC 22-01, and it will be the Business Park North. And in discussion with Rick before the meeting started, I suggested you can typically, take your application, receive it, table it. You probably want to schedule a public hearing for next month's meeting to open it, and then have a site walk sometime in mid-March, and then close the public hearing at the April meeting, and we'll have the development team available to answer any questions at that point. It's a rather large application. I believe most of what you'll be looking at this point is the routing of the proposed road and where it'll cross wetlands and upland areas.
Is there a motion to receive IWWCC 22-01 Business Park North?
So moved.
Pete, second.
It's a motion on the table. All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Brandon, I.
Pete, aye.
Rick, aye. Oh, unanimous, so moved. Is there a motion to hold a public hearing next month for IWWCC 22-01?
So moved.
Pete, second.
All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Brandon, I.
Pete, aye.
Rick, aye. Unanimous, so moved. Dan, are you going to set up a site walk?
Yeah, I think that when we open it next month, we'll try to do it sometime in mid-March based on weather, and obviously it'll have to be during the daytime at some point, and we can everyone's availability. But is everyone okay with it being kind of 2 weeks between the March meeting and the April meeting
Yeah,
at
I'm
this
fine.
point? Okay.
Yep.
It'll be the second time I've walked that property.
Just looking at my calendar, Fridays are the clearest day for me. And the 11th and the 25th are both completely open for me. Just something to put down in your notes and see if anybody else that's convenient or not.
Those 2 Fridays work better for me. The Friday in between does not as well.
Yes, yeah, good. All right.
Okay.
Other business, none. Violations, none. Is there a move to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Brandon.
Second, Doug.
All in favor?
Doug, aye.
Brandon, I.
Pete, aye.
Rick, aye. Unanimous, so moved. Thank you very much, Catherine and gentlemen.